Have you ever had something you thought you were really good at doing, and then you take a break from doing it for a while, and when you come back to it, you've somehow forgotten everything you've learned about that thing, and now mediocre at best? Yeah. I haven't filmed one of these in weeks, and for y'all, it's been like a couple seconds. This might be weird.
Oh boy, I hope this name never seems stupid. New Super Mario Bros., the 10th original entry in the Super Mario series, the oldest to feature the word new, and the only game where Bowser straight up dies at the end of the first world. This was a big deal, being the first original 2D Mario in over 13 years, and a throwback to the classic entries in the series, most notably Mario 3 and Mario World. And it was received incredibly, still to this day being the second best-selling Mario game ever, only behind Super Mario 1. Seriously, 30,800,000 worldwide. It's the best-selling game for Nintendo's best-selling system. It was critically praised too, getting 9s out of 10s and even some perfect scores. Everyone loved New Super Mario Bros.
Should probably look into that security system soon.
So our story is, Peach's castle is struck by lightning somehow, and then Bowser Jr. kidnaps Peach. Go save her.
I mean, am I really going to complain? My most successful pieces of writing are a top 10 video and a fake Discord chat log.
Yes, most Mario games have simple stories, and this one is obviously no exception. But I feel like other games have at least tried to do something a bit more interesting. Like in Super Mario World, Bowser kidnapped a bunch of Yoshi eggs, and you save one at the end of each castle. In 64, he stole the whole freaking castle, so you're trying to save it and the toads inside just as much as you are Peach. Here, the only noticeable difference from other games' plots is that Bowser Jr. specifically kidnapped Peach, which you could also say for Mario Sunshine, except that was just one aspect of that game's plot, and here it's the entirety.
The only question the game raises is, did Bowser make the lightning happen? Okay, there's also the question of why this is the only time Bowser's flesh has been melted off when he fell in the lava, how exactly his son resurrected him. I'm sure there's a game theory about it that I'm just forgetting, but hey, I don't watch MatPat anymore. I've grown.
Okay, so first big complaint. This game doesn't look great. It's technically 2.5D, so the gameplay is in 2 dimensions and the graphics are in 3. However, most of the actual graphics are still 2D sprites, with only Mario and a few select enemies actually being full models. I wouldn't mind it too much if they were all sprites, but it just doesn't look great mixing the models and sprites together. But even then, that's not really the biggest issue I have. It's more that, the graphic design is pretty uninspired.
And I know what you're going to say, oh, another YouTuber complaining about the new Super Mario games being unoriginal. Don't you know, it's not supposed to be super different from other games. It's supposed to be a throwback to classic and standard 2D Mario. Yeah, a lot of Mario 3's worlds have generic themes, but the game still has its own theater-based style. It feels like the only actual style this game has is, blocks. Rectangles and squares everywhere, because apparently different proportioned quadrilaterals are the latest fad in the Mushroom Kingdom.
The same goes for the level design, honestly. There are some interesting ideas, to be fair. The star coins incentivize exploring the levels, and the new moves Mario has based on his 3D moveset do open new avenues in progression. However, it feels like a lot of the cool ideas in the game are kinda gimped. The wall jump feels funky, like it takes just a half a second too long for the wall jump to be available. The mini mushroom is interesting for exploration, but the fact that it overrides any other power-up you have, plus makes you even weaker than Small Mario, leaves the power-up feeling like more of a hindrance than a boon. Similarly, the Mega Mushroom is kind of cathartic, but because it breaks question mark blocks and pipes, it's more obstructive than anything, and the only times it's actually useful are when you're grinding for lives or fighting a tough boss fight. And finally, we have the blue shell, which lets Mario turn into a spinning Koopa shell. And like the suits in Mario 3, you can only get it through random luck. You can't even find them as secrets in certain levels like in that game, you have to use one of the random item methods. But hey, even though you can't easily get them, we're still going to build the collectibles and level design around them. Wonderful game design, guys, very well done.
God, there's just a lot about this game I do not get! Worlds 4 and 7 can only be unlocked by beating a boss with the mini mushroom, which means 2 of the 8 worlds and multiple different gimmicks and ideas are not only completely skippable, but actively frustrating to unlock. You can't save anywhere you want until you straight up beat the game. Instead, you have to clear a castle or tower for the first time or spend some star coins, so your ability to save is a limited resource. Instead of an actual visible checkpoint, the checkpoint will just spontaneously drop out of Mario as he reaches a certain point, which is more confusing than the system from Mario World. And again, why did they boil Bowser alive?
Let's back up for a second. It's easy for me to just look at a game I didn't enjoy playing and say, oh, I hate this must be a terrible game. But in reality, not only is that just an opinion like all my judgments, but it's also important to remember what's actually important about games like this. Sure, I don't think this is the best game in the series, I think a lot of my criticisms are valid, but that doesn't mean this is a terrible game. A lot of the levels can be fairly generic in design, but they're still well built and intelligently designed. Some of the power-ups are poorly thought out, but they still have their uses, and I think some like the blue shell are genuinely really fun to get good with. The bosses are mostly original to this game, with a mummified Pokey, a monstrous Cheep Cheep, and even the first and only 2D incarnation of Petey Piranha. And while I don't think the game is as replayable as, say, Mario 1, it's full of a lot more content and still more than fun enough to get good at. Plus, I mean, we have the minigames, so can I really complain?
Overall, while it definitely isn't my favorite Mario game, I do think it has its place. And I can totally understand why people loved it back in the day. It's just that, like Mario 3, I don't think this is really my kind of thing. Still, it makes me excited for the future. What? People say this is the best new Super Mario game?